Hey everybody, welcome back to the For Goodness Sake YouTube channel. I'm really appreciative to have you guys' attention. Thank you for incorporating me into your day. I know it's hard, lots of things to do, not enough time for it ever. So thanks for taking the time to settle down with me, if even for a few minutes. I'd like to just take this moment to thank everybody that's watched, subscribed, commented, liked anything of my last videos. My intro video is now over 100 views. My hour-long video is even over 35 views, which is kind of impressive considering nobody wants to sit down and do anything for an hour. So the fact that you guys made that much time for me really is heartwarming. Like I said in that video, we're going to try to switch things up so we get a mix of longer videos for people that want that and shorter videos, which I think today's episode is going to be a little bit shorter. So speaking of today's episode, it's been 1 month since I made that hour-long video last time, and 2 months since I made that very first intro video. And wow, it doesn't feel like that. The days have kind of just flown by, and it feels like I've done nothing at all, almost, really. And of course, there's been things that have happened. I can get into that a little bit. But it almost does just feel like nothing happens. I go to work every day and I try to help out around my house, support my mom how I can. I live with my grandpa, for those of you who do not know, so I try to help him out, take care of him as much as I can. Mostly it's my mom's endeavor, but just supporting wherever I can. And yet it feels like I can't cram anything in to help my schedule out. Give myself some time to breathe in that schedule, give myself some time to create good habits for myself. And I don't know, it's a very frustrating and it's a very tough thing to feel. Obviously the biggest thing maybe not obviously, but to me it's obvious that the biggest thing that is frustrating to me that I haven't been able to make time for is creating these videos. This has been such a huge need for me to be able to have this outlet for so long, and it's been something I've wanted to do for so long, and yet I finally made time to create the channel and get the logistics going, and then all of a sudden I'm not making videos for a month at a time so far. And it wouldn't have been even today if I wouldn't have just had talked with my girlfriend and she'd given me some support and just said, hey, you should just do this, it'll help you out. And she's right. Which brings me to kind of the topic of this video today. I think that I want to talk about doing what we love and what it means to do what you love and how that looks practically. Because I think it sounds a lot easier than, as many people would know, than it seems to be in our lives. So on that note, I want to start our episode off with the quote of the episode. And this is from the esteemed rapper LL Cool J. Many people who know me, went to school with me, know that I am very likely to quote a rapper in daily life, and this is one of these times. Unfortunately, it's not a lyric, which is always just even more, it hits harder when you get the lyric too. But this time it's just something he had said. LL Cool J said, "Do what you love. You'll be better at it." It sounds pretty simple, but you'd be surprised how many people don't get this one right away. And that's so true. That's the entire problem of what's going on in this world. We're, especially in our generation, very lost. A lot of us are finding ourselves in roles that we don't necessarily fit into, whether it's in school, because a lot of people are going to college who don't necessarily need to go to college. They didn't necessarily think that was their path, but they were forced to, or maybe they didn't want to let people down, or they don't want to feel like an outsider, or whatever the reason. They end up in college and then they end up unhappy, miserable, depressed, anxious, and all around unsuccessful at college life as a whole. And those are some of the better outcomes that you could get. There's a lot of bad things that can happen if you end up somewhere that you're not happy. Similarly, people that were forced into not going to college, people that were told that they are not good at school, that they are failures, that they cannot succeed, they're not smart, they're not one of the smart kids. These are all people that our school system, our parents, our friends, everybody in our society has failed. And it's caused a lot of people working jobs that they don't want to work and they're not happy in. It caused a lot of people in schools pursuing degrees that and taking on debt in fields that they're not happy in, pursuing things that they're not happy in. And all around unhappiness. And so as the speaker on the For Goodness Sake channel, I believe it's my responsibility to tell you guys how the same or similar aspects of unhappiness have played out in my life. Starting with the fact that it's taken me, you could say 4 years, at least 3 years at least, to create this channel, which I've wanted to do so badly, and I've thought that I would really enjoy doing for a very, very long time. And for some reason, I just haven't done it. And to explain to you guys why I haven't done that is kind of where I'm at right now. And in reality, there's really no reason, practically. You know, it's like, I could give all these reasons of like, oh, well, this happened and I just forgot about it for a while because I was busy trying to do this, and then I was in school, and then this, and then that, and then, you know, you give yourself all these reasons, but when it comes down to it, there's so much time in the day that we don't use. Whether it's because we build bad habits for ourselves and then we don't take advantage of time because we have to like sleep in more, right? For a long period of time in college and at the end of my high school career, I was the very tail end and into the summer going into college. I was doing a lot of partying with my friends, hanging out, smoking, drinking, just normal kid things that you think of at that age, which you don't think are that bad, but they disrupt your body's homeostasis. They really do. And as somebody who's had done that for years, I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm just letting you know some facts that I know, that I'm not quoting anything verbatim, just so you know. So you have to do the research on your own. Take advantage of your time. But a lot of studies, a lot of studies are darn near conclusively stating how sleep is disrupted. REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, is disrupted, which is the most restorative sleep. It's disturbed when we do things like drink, smoke. And that's not even at like a massive scale. Like even like one time throughout the day causes us to not get a full restorative sleep, and we end up the next day a little groggier. Maybe we don't, we have to sleep a couple hours longer than what we normally would. And simple things like that are really big factors, you know, when you're doing that consistently. And imagine if you do that one day, but now take that up a notch 2 days on the weekend, for Saturday and Sunday. Well, let's say you only do Friday and Saturday, you know, or Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now you have 3 days where you're sleeping in 2 hours extra. You know, that time just continues to compile. And these are all addictive chemicals and drugs. And so the idea that you'd start off probably 1 day a week or 2 days a week, and then all of a sudden, now I have to do it on Sunday, now I have to do it on Thursday night, now it's Wine Wednesday, Thirsty Thursday, club going up on a Tuesday, like these types of things just compound. So sleep is really one huge way that we lose our time, because we're not getting restorative sleep and we have to sleep more to compensate for that, even though that more isn't as productive as a natural sobered sleep. Another thing is the time that we spend on social media. I'm a huge culprit of this even today. You know, I was so content with sitting on my couch right here and being on Twitter while watching YouTube passively, YouTube clips about my guy Andrew Yang, who's running for the Democratic National Convention nominee, presidential nominee. Look him up. I'm not getting paid to support him. I just think that he's the future for America. So check him out. If you follow me anywhere on social media, you probably have already heard me bragging about him. But either way, please become politically aware. It's a very important step in raising the consciousness and the positive effects of our nation. But I digress. I was content watching videos about him and other pointless things that I enjoy watching on YouTube and scrolling through my social media for another 2 hours, like I've done for the past hour before I have to go to work in a couple hours here. And I was not worried about making a video, to say the least, or even working out, which still isn't going to happen today. But hopefully we're on a trend arcing towards that good habit as well. And there's just so many other things that, you know, I could do that would be positive for me, but instead of that, I would rather just passively be on consumption mode. And I think that that's a huge deterrent of success in our society that our generation is facing the brunt of, when no other generation in human history has had to deal with that. And we all of a sudden have all of, you know, the content created darn near ever at our fingertips, and we're just like stuck in consumption mode. We don't realize that all the content ever created has been created by someone, and that all the content that we have in our minds and in our hearts and in our souls, that is important to create, and that somebody needs to hear our story. We need to put that on display for somebody else to see. If not to get rich and famous from, like it seems to be the goal has always been, but just so that somebody else can hear it. So they can hear it and they can say, hey, that was really touching to me. I've been thinking about that a lot, and I didn't know how to put the words into a complete sentence or actually functionally have a conversation about that with people, because I thought that I was weird. These are important things for each other. The human condition is to relate to each other. It really is. I mean, we all have songs and stories and books and movies and all types and videos on YouTube and all types of media that we have heard and watched and listened to and just consumed in every way. Dances, you know, all types of things that we've consumed. And then we've been like, wow, like that just like, I get that, and that gets me at the same time. Like, it's so weird. Like, they completely understand me, and I completely understand them, and I've never even met that person. How is that even possible? I've never even met that person. How do they know exactly what I'm feeling right now? This person, like, is 20 years older than me. They grew up in a completely different spot than me, you know? How is it possible that they know exactly how I'm feeling right now? That's the beautiful part about creativity as a human, you know. It's really incredible that we can do that. We can empathize with each other, you know. It's really that simple. We can empathize with each other, and we can create. And when we can create, if we can create with empathy, it's magical, you know. It really is incredible. We can just tell our stories too at a basic level, and that is having empathy for ourselves. We have the vulnerability, the courage to be vulnerable with the world, because that's another thing that really inhibits us. The world can kind of be judgy. The world can kind of be messed up. In short, they can be judgmental and crude and just not accepting and intolerant. And it's like you see all these other people that get fame and popularity and success, and they do it a certain way, and you're like, I want to do it that way too then, you know. Everybody likes the athletes. Why don't I just go be an athlete? You know, why don't I try to make sure that I can be an athlete, because people like those guys and gals. Like, those people are famous and well liked. Why don't I be a rapper or a musician? Everybody likes the musicians. Like, people give those people love. Like, why don't I do that? You know, that's super cool, and you kind of get some clout with it now. This is awesome. Like, let's do this. nobody wants to watch somebody make videos online that's just like from my hometown. Like like I don't want to do that. This is I'm telling from my personal experience of, things that hurt me, from pursuing my path, and not even consciously. These things, cultural impact is all constantly happening. It's not easy for us to just decipher how it happens. But I'm just saying, we see these idols that we have, these friends of ours, these relatives, these inspirations, famous people online, in the media, anything, movies. And we're like, you know what? I have to do what they did because they're really cool and I relate to them, so I have to do their path. I'm here to tell you, you don't. You don't have to do their path. You have your own path that is completely shrouded right now that you can't even see. And I get it, it's hard. But you have to trust and have faith in yourself that whatever makes you truly happy, that's your path. And that's exactly what you'll be successful in. That LL Cool J quote is so important to me because truly it seems obvious that we would all just like do what we love. Like, why not? Like, we're alive. Like, many people don't have that opportunity because they've had their lives cut short, and many people don't have the opportunity to do what we can do as being able-bodied people, being fully autonomous beings, like fully of our own judgment. Many people in this world are strapped down as like wage slaves still, you know what I mean? Like, there's actual slavery going on. There's negative things that happen to everybody in this world. And so you'd think that somebody like myself, who has not had to deal with all these negative, horrible consequences of just living, would just be like, well, why don't I just do what I love, like, all the time? It just makes sense. Like, it's free. I could just do this all the time. Whenever I'm sad, I can just do this. It's free. I don't even have to pay for anything. I did at one point buy a speaker, buy a laptop, for the record. But at this moment, it is now, there's no future costs. So why wouldn't I just do it? And that is touched on in that quote of just many people don't really get that far. And so I'm here to tell you that it's not easy. It's not easy. You don't know what your path is at first for a long time. You don't know how to make that happen for a long time. And then once you start making it happen, you lose motivation. You don't feel able. You let other things get in the way. It's hard. It really is. And now that we've acknowledged that it's hard, we can collectively take a sigh and just work towards it. That's my challenge for you guys. Find what you love, which, when you think about yourself in an honest way, when you truly give time to thinking about it, many, many times, like, what is it that I truly love? What is it that I truly love? What makes me happiest? There's an amazing author out there who's I read one of his books that it's called Creative Schools. It's an incredible book. It's about how all the schools up until now have been schools for the industrial age, getting people to get into the economic workforce. And his whole thing is creating these creative schools that allow kids opportunities to find what their true love is, giving them all types of curriculum, all the academic things that we think of as academia, and then all the physics and engineering, computer science. That's kind of like the new wave, futuristic academia, and then also giving them all types of creative initiatives, music, art, dance, theater, as well as sports, gym, physical education. And when you expand your curriculum to give these kids all these things, like, they find that one thing that they like. Oh, I really like woodshop. This is crazy. I hate math and I hate reading, but I'm going to try at it like a little bit harder. I'm going to try to persevere so that I don't have to give up doing woodshop. That's my thing. And that's just basically what happens is when you find your love of what you like doing with all of your heart and soul, it makes everything just a little bit easier. Like everything still can suck. Don't get me wrong. Everything still hurts in a lot of ways. You know, the things that are hard in life aren't just going to magically disappear. But you realize that you can deal with those things. You don't need them to be any easier. You realize how strong you are. That's what happens when you find your love. That's what happens when love comes in many forms, whether it's a parent, both parents, a grandparent, relatives, friends, a spouse, or a loving girlfriend or boyfriend. That's what love is. It doesn't make things truly easier. It just reminds you how strong you are. You don't need it to be easier. So I guess in conclusion, I'd say some strategies for finding your love outlined by this guy that made Creative Schools. His name is Sir Ken Robinson. Check his book out, Creative Schools, or check his other book out, which I've learned a lot of things from. Element. It's all about every human being having an element and how we need to find our element and just pursue it with happiness, because it really will change our life. So to find your element, think about what you do that feels like you've only done it for like 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden an hour passes. Like whenever you're doing it, time just seems like it's so different. Like you're doing it for a little bit, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, this has been like 3 hours at this. What the hell? Notice I just looked at my imaginary clock over here. It's a very modern thing to do, because obviously I only have a clock on my phone. So yeah, check out what you do. Think about what you do that makes you happiest, that when you do it, it's still work, but it just feels like easier. What are you naturally good at? You know, truly, like, even if it's not like you're the best, you're just like, it's just easy to you. And then what do you do that when you do it, time just seems to fly by? This is also a topic that is very introspective. You know, you can't just click and then all of a sudden you have the answer. And that's kind of the hard part. I can't just create a channel and then it just magically fills itself up with videos that, you know, really relate to people. I have to really struggle. And then after struggling for a while, I have to say, hey guys, I've been struggling. I went to see my girlfriend in West Virginia, and that took up a week. And then it's like, oh, I'm not going to make a video there because, you know, I'm spending time with you. I got to make time for you. Well, then I come back, and then my grandpa had his 75th birthday party, which was awesome. Shout out my G-Pops, man. That dude is 75 years old. We had a great party for him. So then like that week, I'm like, oh, well, I can't do that. Obviously, I'm doing this. I have to make time for G-Pops. Well, then after that, it's like, oh, well, now I got to clean up after that party, and I have to do this. Well, now then it's another week goes by, and I'm just tired, you know, and I'm just like, oh, well, I don't have time this time. And before you know it, another week goes by and another week, and then you continue to find excuses for yourself that are all real excuses. All these things really did happen, and it's not like I haven't been doing things that are important in my life. The only problem is this is important too. What you love is important too. We have to remember that. You are important. All right, I'm going to let you guys go. Be introspective. Look deep within yourself. Write stuff down. Write ideas down. Think about all the things you've ever wanted to do and just write them down and see which ones you'd rather do first. And don't be hard on yourself. Try something. Don't be afraid to fail. When you fail, don't be hard on yourself. Just take it as an opportunity to learn. Attack a new goal with everything you have and be happy when you fail, because it shows you a way that you can grow in a different possibly successful way. You have everything within you that you need to be successful in your life. You don't need anything else from anyone else. You are your own hero. You are your own savior. You can do it. I believe in you. With that, let me know how you do, what you want to do, what plans you will take to do these things in the comments below. Like, subscribe, as always. Give me some love. Tell your friends. Tell your parents. They could also hear that somebody cares about them and that they are loved, because I love you all. I really do. You are some special people. Every single individual that is listening, every single individual that is existing. You need to hear it. I love you. You are loved. Find somebody you love and tell them. All right. Peace, love. For goodness sake. Take care, you guys.